Hello and welcome to Unleashed. I'm your host, Will Bachman, and I'm delighted to be here today with Lana Newishy, who is the founder of Hey Intake, and I'll let her explain what that tool is all about. Lana, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Will. It's a pleasure to be here. Hey Intake is actually one of a few startups that I'm juggling at the moment, and I've already set up three startups previously over my lifetime, the span of my lifetime. And it started with the idea of me being a consultant. I have my own practice, and I deal with a lot of clients, and I get a lot of requests all the time. And what I notice is the client experience usually starts the moment someone reaches out. But that part is usually broken in some way or another. So it's either there are a lot of emails back and forth, so there's not really a structure in place, or there are missing information that is discovered too late in the process, or some documents that are scattered across inboxes or inconsistent follow-ups, and discovery calls that are really that take a long time and just to do basic filtering. So what I realize is there's a good deal of lost opportunity, and it's pretty common right now, not just in our industry, but across other practices and especially service areas like attorneys, accountants, even when it comes to like home renovations or plumbers or any kind of service area. So if you think of it, there's a lot of time that is wasted in the back and forth, and there's not enough structure in place. So I kept seeing that problem, and most consultants optimize delivery and ignore the system that feeds into it. So as a result, the chaos for me was not really in delivery, it was in how the work started. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, are you talking more about the content of the project? Like what's the need, what's the goals, or are you talking more about the administrative side? Like send me a contract, okay, going back and forth on the edits and give me your W-9 form so we can get you set up. Okay, here's our vendor ACH form so we can pay you. More of the infrastructure side. So are you talking about both or are you leaning more on one or the other side?
That's a great question, Will, and I'm talking about both. I'm just going to cut straight to it. So what's broken in the consultant intake today is lead qualification is broken. So to begin with, most consultants don't qualify; they react. Discovery calls, they become basic filtering. There's information asymmetry, so clients don't know what to share in the first place, and consultants don't ask the right questions consistently, which results in bad proposals. But then once you move past that stage, operations start too late. So the system only kicks in after the deal is signed. The pre-engagement is invisible. There's tool fragmentation. So you have emails and documents that are stored in different locations. You have to go back to your emails to find those documents. CRM systems that don't connect with all of the tools. You have different calendar tools. You have file sharing somewhere else. You have e-signatures and forms and terms that are agreed to in different locations. So things are not connected in a single flow. And most importantly, what I heard over and over is, hey, okay, we have a CRM system, but we don't have automations. Like people are tired of multiple CRM systems that they still have to manage and maintain, and that don't fire up automatically to just take that take that burden off of their shoulders, basically. So, I mean, there were a lot of pain points and pain areas, and that brought me to think, what if the entire front end was just one system? And, in terms of connecting all of these tools together, in terms of streamlining the flow from the minute the lead is comes in, all the way throughout the intake until the service is completed. So instead of improving each broken piece separately, we decided to build a single structured flow from first contact to the service completion.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen actually, well, right now and kind of walk you through. So this is, let me know when you see it.
I do. I see it.
Okay, great. So this is how the dashboard looks like. You have a first when first someone signs up, there's a quick setup, so it's just easy for them to know exactly what they need to do, and a quick overview of what kind of forms and submissions, what's going on really in their intake flow.
Let me just narrate a little bit what I'm seeing for the listeners that are just getting the audio. So I have a left-hand side with tabs for a dashboard, submissions, contacts, form builder, email templates, automations, analytics, team, settings, and support. Right. So we can jump back and forth between those different tabs. And then right now I'm looking at Hello Gruber and Gruber, an overview of your CRM activity with a kind of looks like a kind of a process flow that's walking you through a process flow.
So, and then on in the top part here, you can see suggestions on what you should be doing today. And these are AI smart suggestions. So it's based on what stage you're at the moment, and what is actually priority in terms of your submissions. So this here recommendation changes over time. I'm gonna move to the submissions window. And here you're going to see a few examples of how it looks like. So we split them into lead phase, intake phase, and then service phase. So you can see exactly each submission where they are in the flow. If I open one of the submissions here, you can see there's a score to the left that says 78. That's the AI score in terms of priority. So you know, okay, this submission, I need to pay attention to it immediately. It's a high score. If it doesn't fit the criteria that I set up initially, when I set up the form, it would give a lower score, and I would know where to direct my attention. If I open that submission and submission drawer, you can see here it's very proactive. List on top if you need to send a form, if you need to compose an email, or there are multiple templates that are already pre-generated for you to use as well. And then here I can update the phase if that contact has been qualified, won, or lost. And the cool thing is if you know happens that the contact is lost, it would pull up a window to ask me at what stage and why was it lost. So I would know the lost reason and would all populate the analytics tab with that as well. Here I can go ahead and request documents from that client. I can there's a client portal where they can log in and upload all of their documents. So I can open that client portal from that window as well. If I want to send anything for e-signature, I would upload it here and send it to the client. And then I can open the lead form that was submitted and read it in further detail. And then as you can see, I can see the score, the AI analysis of why it was scored that way, and then the breakdown of that score exactly. And then you can see all the answers as well.
So you have this. So let me digest a little bit of this. So on the submissions tab, it's breaking it into three phases. So I'm looking at the prior tab before the Don Jackson one. So the submissions, just the overall dashboard kind of view, has lead phase showing the number of leads, the number of new, number of contacted, number of qualified, number of won, and number of lost. Okay. And then intake phase, we have total number of intakes, and then those are spread across requested, received, awaiting docs, action required, or intake complete, and then service phase. So how many are in the service phase? Total service, contract signed, scheduled, in service, service complete. Okay. So that's kind of an overview of all the projects. And then would something stay like for the life in service complete stage? So if you were using this tool for 3 years and you'd done, 37 projects or something, the service complete, that number just sort of keeps accumulating and ticking
Correct.
upwards over time.
Correct. Yes, it keeps building up.
Uh,
So you know exactly, and then you have all the history. So if I open the submission drawer, you
yeah.
can see all the activity of that specific submission, and you can just pull that out and see when exactly that was submitted and when the service was completed and all the steps that this client went through.
All right. Okay.
And then here you can add your notes as well. And then what one thing that attorneys actually love about our product is there's a global search are here. So it helps them when there is conflict check. So say, for example, one of their one wants, someone wants to become a client of theirs, but that client is married to someone who there is some sort of a conflict going on. So they can quickly search here and clear that conflict check easily.
So
So
are you trying to displace someone's existing CRM system? So if someone's using Pipedrive or HubSpot, is your goal with Hey Intake that they would no longer need to have that system, but this would replace it?
many of our clients actually switch to Hay Intake. However, we do not specifically try to replace them. We offer that avenue so some of our clients love to keep their, for example, legal project management tools and CRM systems,
Uh-huh.
but they love our intake process. So we have set up integrations in place where they can connect both systems seamlessly. And it just makes it easier in case they want to, like, for example, some clients have been using something for years, or sometimes there are specific regulations that prevent them from switching to a new CRM system. In that case, they can still maintain their own and connect with ours to manage the intake process. But if you ask me, there's nothing that prevents them from switching to our system at all.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right.
So
So maybe tell me about the form builder, about how about this. This is we have client
great.
intake form one, lead inquiry form two. Show
Yeah.
me these.
So these are actually very smart form builders. So I'm gonna click here and start a new form. So you can start a lead form or an intake form. And what the system does here, if I select the lead form and
Yeah.
let me call it
Yeah, let's do lead form. Sure.
yeah. And then so it provides you with multiple templates that are project-based, appointment-based templates, retainer-based, simple inquiry, project intake, appointment intake, ongoing service onboarding, or simple client intake templates. However, if let's say all of these templates do not fulfill what you're looking for, you can click on the Build with AI button.
All right.
And then here I would
Well,
describe,
let's start with one of the defaults, like project based. Let's start with one of those.
sounds good.
All
All
right.
right, so I'm going to go back here and let's say project based.
Okay.
So I would create a form,
Yeah.
uh, and then it walks you through what you need to do. It's very intuitive. So first it says edit your field, and
Uh-huh.
then add a thank you message. And then if you would like to add a scheduling link, you can add it here. And what happens is once someone submits the form, the next screen takes them to a scheduling page, if that's how you want to do it.
Uh-huh.
You can customize your branding so the form has your logo, your colors, your fonts. You can share your form immediately. You can get the link, you can add it to your email or have it on the website. And then you save your changes and then send your first test lead. So these are the steps that the
And
system would like to walk
what
you
sort of fields are in the default here for just the basic plain vanilla?
through. Okay. So, and this is cool. This is part of the system that I love because you can play around with this and add as many fields as you like. The default fields for this specific for template, here it includes your full name, email. It asks for the company name, title, etc. So any field that you like, you can go up here and add fields. You can customize the field in terms of inputs, whether it's text, email, phone, checkboxes. You can do file uploads, date picker, etc. And then the cool thing about this, so here you can see AI scoring. So currently none of the fields have been specified in terms of which fields the AI would use to score. So this template would allow you the flexibility to decide, okay, I want to include specific fields in AI scoring. So I'm going to scroll down. So let's say, for example, I would love to include the budget in AI scoring. So I would want to prioritize those requests with higher budget. So I'll go up here and say, okay, include this in AI scoring and give it a weight of 20%, or I can change that weight if I like. And then eventually I would repeat that across different fields. The goal is to get to 100% in terms of weight. And so let's say here, the other field is the decision authority. I would like for, if someone is the decision maker, for that to be, let's say, I'm going to bump this up to 25%. And then within the options, if it's a decision maker, I'll give it 100. If someone influences the decision, I'll give it an 80, for example. And then if someone is researching it for someone else, maybe I'll give it 25. So it's got a lower weight. So this way I can control exactly how the AI scores that form and prioritizes it. And then once I'm done with all this, I can add my thank you message, the schedule link already. I have that saved in my settings, so I just would toggle this on to be requested. And also, if I would like to add any consent checkbox, I would just toggle it on here, and I can change the terms of that consent text myself.
I agree to be contacted regarding my request. Is that like a requirement by anybody in the universe?
So yes, in a lot of places, we have to make sure that they are agree, especially in Europe, with a lot of the recent privacy laws. I think we need to make sure we are very transparent when it comes to this. But you can put anything you like in this checkbox. I have, for example, speaking of movie studios, I have a movie studio that is collecting submissions, for example, in terms of feature films. And what they have to disclose here is they have to make sure that whoever uploads a script knows that the script can be used, that the ideas cannot be stolen basically by anyone. So it's a good way to clear any kind of conflicts and just be very transparent about it here.
Okay. So what research have you done to help determine what's the optimal number of fields to include? So we have a lot of fields here in the default, like name and email of the person. You can't really, you sort of got to include that. Like, how are you not going to include their name and their email? But then, and you ask for, tell me about your problem. But then everything else that you ask, I guess I'm always worried for like an intake form that it's useful for us, the recipient, to qualify it, but how much does every additional field reduce the likelihood that someone will fill it out? Like if you ask them, what's the name of your organization? What's your role? What's your budget? Particularly, people might be very reluctant to fill out the budget. So if that's a required field, people might just say, oh, forget about this firm. I'll just go to the next firm. I don't want to like have to fill out my budget right now and tell them what it is. I don't even know. Right. So have you done any research to kind of figure out what's the correct level of detail to ask for that's not going to discourage people from filling out the form?
I mean, you hit a very good point, Will, and for a lead form, has to be very simple and has to ask the right questions so that whomever fills them up can do so in a very quick way. And in today's world, we're all busy. We got so much going on, and we lose our attention span very quickly. So, uh, I mean, I don't have a number to share, but in terms of questions, but really in terms of time, um, you know, anything more than 5 to 10 minutes could get into that gray zone. Um, but then again, it depends on the nature of the business. Like if it's something that, like for example, if it's an intake form for a dentist, I know I have to fill that intake form out, so I will definitely find the time to complete it. But if it's an intake form for a small service where I'm not really, I'm not really in a time crunch to complete it, then yeah, you have to be then very flexible. Make sure that you don't, you have to hit the right questions quickly and just try to convert that into a call as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Um, so you have the ability to basically create a form and I imagine there's some HTML you can embed on your website to embed the form on a website.
Correct. So you can either embed it on the website, or we actually host the form. So all you need to do is uh, uh, just hand over that uh, link in your email. You just place it there, or you can have it on, send it to someone via WhatsApp or your messages, and then we host the form on our website. We have all the tracking, so you know exactly when they opened it, when it was completed, what part of if that form. So let me actually jump into. I'll show you in one of the forms that was built. So if I edit here, there's an analytics tab per form. So that we have a global analytics tab, but then per form, you can see the form analytics. So you can look at total views, number of submissions, if someone dropped off. And then the cool part is you can see two things. There's focused if field. So that means someone actually tapped into a form field and filled a field. So if someone, for example, filled a field but then did not submit the form, you will know exactly that they dropped off. So it gives you an indication, and that goes back to your last question, well, in terms of, okay, well, why are people not completing my form, or why are people opening my form and not filling them up or submitting them? So it gives you an indication of whether that form is too long or something's wrong with any of the questions. And you can just use that to kind of enhance and build something better when it comes to collecting that initial funnel.
All right.
Uh,
Um,
so I'm
and
going to move on to, sorry, unless you have a
go
question.
ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so we got a couple of other tabs that I want to share with you. So the first one is the email templates. So here we provide a whole library of email templates that can be used either by the user manually or through the automation tab, which we'll go through next.
All
Uh,
right.
and then you can also add your own template if you like, but there's a lot going on to begin with. If you open any of these templates, you can edit those directly, or you can edit with AI as well. So, they're very flexible. And then the automations tab, which is really cool, it just shows you exactly the flows. What happens when an email gets sent out, what happens when someone submits a form. And it's up to you to toggle these on and off, so you can choose to respond to new leads instantly. It can notify you when a lead form is submitted, and then goes through the whole flow and process. So if someone sends an intake form automatically, this is what happens. If it can request documents automatically as well, can follow up when action required. And and then there is a tab where you can build your own automations, and the tab that shows you exactly what the system automations are in the back end. These are automations that you cannot change, but the system is being very transparent about them at the same time.
Wow. All right. So explain to me again some of the automations, like how you would go ahead and set one of those up.
Yeah, so we have some preset automations which we think are more than enough, but in case you would like to set up something separately. So I would go into the builder tab. I would set up a new automation.
Okay.
I'll give it a name here. It's a welcome email. And I would select here. It's either when a form is submitted or when a status is changed. I would select one of the two. So let's say when the status changes to one, I would like for the system to send an email, and then it will pop up here the templates that we just saw in the other window. And
Mhm.
I would select one of the templates, for example, let's say it's acknowledgement or schedule kickoff, and then I would just click create.
Okay.
And then we just create that automation for you, and it's active. You can deactivate it at any time, or you can edit it or even delete it later.
Okay.
So it's just pretty, and then what we found is our users, they test this and they play around with it over time, and they can figure out exactly what kind of automations are necessary, what kind of automations they want to add. But for the most part, the standard automations that we provide are more than sufficient.
Okay. Tell me about how the tool helps with actual kind of vendor setup with a new customer or new client. So all of the paperwork,
Yes.
contract, getting set up for payment. Maybe they have their own custom ACH form. Hey, we need you to fill out our vendor onboarding form. Miscellaneous kind of, send us a W-9, various different random. We need you to sign this. You send us, sign for the fact that have an anti-bribery policy in place, whatever random stuff they send you. How does the tool help with all that onboarding?
Okay, great. So I'm going to move to the submissions tab, which in there you can see each submission. And we manage these flows through the submissions because you can have a client that has multiple projects. So we don't want to manage those from the contacts window. We keep those per submission specifically. So if I open a submission, the submission drawer for that specific project, here you can see there are two sections specifically. The first one is the documents. So here you can go on and click on request documents from the client, and then the document request would be sent directly. And then when you open the client portal, you can here see, okay, so in this case, this client is under review, so we're still reviewing it. However, once the client submits the documents, you'll be able to see them in the client portal, and you'll receive them also in your submission drawer, so you can download them there. I'm going to move back to that window here. And then in terms of signatures, it's pretty straightforward. All you need to do is just click upload document, and then you would just drop in that document that you need for the client to sign. You would send it, and then once it's uploaded, you click send for signature. And it will also go into the client portal, and you get an email with it with the confirmation that it's been signed once it's signed, and it will be available here for you to look at as well.
And how are you doing the e-signature? The companies like Adobe
Yes.
and DocuSign and BoldSign and those different companies, I imagine they have some, I don't know what it is, but some, ISO certification that demonstrates 100% that they can audit it and prove that such and such a person actually did be the one that signs the document. So how do you kind of do what DocuSign and Adobe Sign and so forth are doing?
And that's a good question too. So we are integrated with DocuSign and with Signwell.
Oh, okay.
Um, because to your point, we actually don't want to we don't want to step over anyone's toe when it comes to ISO and any of those regulations at this point. So on the flip side, some of the law firms, for example, would only deal with specific providers when it comes to collecting signatures. And so we make this very simple and easy for them. All they need to do is just provide, we connect through an authorization layer with their DocuSign or Signwell account. And it just, they set this up once, and it's going forward, it's built into Hey Intake, and it's just flows in seamlessly. All they need to do is just upload the documents here, and it connects with their DocuSign and Signwell accounts, and just proceeds from there to contact the client and notify them when it's signed. When it comes to the document uploads, though, we do have native storage on our servers, or if they prefer to keep their own storage, they can also set it up that way that all documents get stored in their own private storage facility.
Cool. Tell me about your customer base right now. Who's using your tool right now?
Yeah, so primarily we have attorney for law firms, accountants. We have things like photographers, for example. And for photographers, we found this, niche that is very overlooked, because if you think of it, like when they go out and take photos, they need to upload those to a specific database and they need to be able to share those with the clients later. So the whole flow works perfectly for them. We have home renovators that are receiving a lot of requests via phone, etc., and they need to provide quotes and not all of these requests are serious, and they found this is a great way to optimize their time and make sure they spend it with the right client correctly. So a lot of service businesses, let's put it that way, consultants as well. We do have some B2B consultants, and it's just, it's part of their process as well. But yeah, so it's across the board. We haven't focused. If I think your next question would have been, are you going to focus on a specific vertical, which is definitely top of mind. We haven't reached that stage yet. Let's put it that way. We'll probably revisit it in a few months and see which vertical resonates the most when it comes to this process, and and try to hone in on that a little more. But right now we want to keep it open and we want to collect data as much as possible in terms of what works, what doesn't work, who actually values it the most, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. What has it taken to actually build what you've built so far? Have you done it yourself with vibe coding, or did you hire a development team, or what?
So I have a development team based in Canada. It's a venture builder, and they actually help build a lot of these B2B AI based solutions. It's a very thought through process. It takes a lot longer to develop anything than, I mean, nowadays with AI and everything, things are very fast, obviously, and much faster. But the cool thing about working with a venture builder is they have a framework, it's tested, they know exactly how it works. We went through a validation process, a very extensive validation process with different vendors and businesses to make sure we have the right tool in place that addresses the most pain points. And yeah, it's great. And that's actually my first time working with a venture builder. Most of my other startups, I was just me and a couple of other people that we launched, and it was much faster. But I did this on purpose, and I wanted to go through something much more structured. I wanted to make sure there's a framework in place, and it's paying off because yeah, this time we're definitely ready. We have most of the, I mean, I wouldn't say it's perfect because, you improve as you go and things change and you have new things coming up all the time. But it's been great working with those guys and I learned from them, they learned from me, and it's good to have kind of an institution and working on this. And it's not their only project. They work on multiple startups a year. They know what they're doing, and there's a lot of thought when it comes to how they design it and how it's launched. And also from a security and safety standpoint, where the data is saved exactly, if shit hits the fan, hopefully not, but there's someone who knows how to deal with this.
Okay, great. And remind us again, what is the URL for people who want to go and check it out?
It's heyintake.com, HeyIntake.com.
Okay. And what's the pricing?
So the pricing is actually, if you use the annual plan, it could be as low as $16 for the basic plan. If you actually want to upgrade and use the pro plan, it's $39.
Per
And then
per
we have
per year or per month or
per month. Yes, sorry.
per month?
So six. So the annual plan gives you a discount at 20% off the monthly rate. If you go with the monthly rate is $19 and $49. And then we do have an enterprise tier that is more custom and where we can provide more specific solutions.
All right. Well, Lana, thank you for sharing with us today.
Well, thank you all. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I appreciate your time. And then if there's anything, I'm happy to share a deck as well with all the slides with you or anyone who actually is interested in looking at the deck. I can be contacted directly at contact@heyintake.com or Lana at heyintake.com.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.